This is his one and only chance. He knows it, and he's got to go for it. Reformer, the big blocker for Burnham. I think it's terminal for Labour. I think it's already gone. We know that. There's no way back. Seems to have that sort of chirpy cockiness, doesn't he? He's like one of us. He's got that one of us, man of the people persona.
Hi, everybody, and welcome back to Nick Talks. This episode's returning and still amazing guest and one of the most popular people on my channel, even more popular than me, is the Silver Fox from Silver Fox Hot Takes. How you doing, Foxy?
Well, that's a very nice introduction, Nick. I'm doing very well. I've been ill. People who watch my channel will know. The last couple of days, I've had this terrible cold, and I've struggled through it. But it's all coming out the back end now. But other than that, yeah, I'm fine. When I say it's all coming out the back end, I don't mean it's coming out the back. I mean I'm coming out the back end of it. Yeah, it's not coming out the back end. That's a horrible thought. So let's move on.
Well, that's something we don't need to be sharing on.
We'll move on with that one.
We get in enough trouble with free speech on YouTube. We don't need to be creating whole new genres of getting into trouble on free speech.
Not a chance.
This episode, I wanted to talk about something specific. And obviously, I'm a Manchester boy, born and bred. We have a mayor of Greater Manchester, the King of the North, Andy Burnham. And there's been rumours for many years now, and I've reported on those rumours lots and lots of times, that he obviously wants to be Prime Minister. And to be Prime Minister, he's going to have to become an MP again, get to Parliament and challenge whoever is the leader of the Labour Party who happens to be Prime Minister. Now, he seems to be vocal about this at the moment. He spent the last day or two criticising Starmer, criticising the government. They're going in the wrong direction. They're messing at the edges. We need to raise taxes. We need to borrow money. We need to do a massive spend in this. He's talking about 40 billion extra spending he's talking about. We're bankrupt, but he's a socialist. That doesn't compute. Do you think he's making his move? He's finally going to make his move and have a go at his last chance of being Prime Minister?
It is his last chance because he can only be Prime Minister for the next 3 years. Because it doesn't matter if he becomes Prime Minister tomorrow, that's it. The Labour Party are done. So that's him out. Basically, it'll be a generational thing. So yeah, this is his one and only chance. He knows it, and he's got to go for it. And it's been obvious that he's been lining up the pieces, as it were, on the board, ready to go for that checkmate against Starmer. However, someone has actually thrown a spanner in the works this week, haven't they, Mr. Gwynn? Because it was always thought that Andy Gwynn would step down to allow Andy Burnham to step in and win the seat there. No guarantee, of course, he'd even win the seat at the moment. But Gwynn now this week has said, no, he's not stepping down, even though he's persona non grata, even though he's been thrown out of the party, even though he's an obnoxious, horrible man who says terrible things. He is still the MP, and he knows he's done as well at the next election. So he wants to stay there and grab as much public money as he can get. So he said he's not standing down. Now all of a sudden, Andy Burnham's like, but you said you were going to, and it's panic stations. And so he's going to have to do a bit of carpet bagging, isn't he? He's going to have to go around looking for seat after seat after seat to find one that he could win. Now, he might have a chance if he goes down to Somerset. And by chance, I mean no chance at all. But it looks like the Somerset MP may be going. There's such a huge backlash against him. That's Dan Norris, of course, who is an utterly, I've got to be careful what I say, an utterly reprehensible lizard of a man who had those various, let's just say, images that we all know what that means. It's unlikely he is going to remain a minister, an MP there. So he could have a go at that. But honestly, he's going up against Jacob Rees-Mogg. Not going to win that, is he? So he's just casting around.
He is. Let's go back to Andrew Gwynn, Tameside MP. He's the one who said in that terrible WhatsApp group, he was sort of joking, but you don't make these jokes. He was wishing all the old people in his area would die because they're always complaining. And it was a joke. but it was for an elected politician, it's a no-no. So he's been kicked out of the Labour Party. You're right. He knows he's got only a few more years left before he's not elected again, and he's on 96 grand a year. So he's looking at that. I believe he was going to stand down for Andy Burnham. I believe they've had those conversations. But I also now, I've got no evidence of this, but I think he's looked around and Starmer's team has spoken to him and they've said to him, we don't want Andy Burnham. First of all, you step down and create a by-election. There's no guarantee Andy Burnham's going to win. And Andy Burnham has promised you the world. Andy Burnham has promised you a safe seat, a ministerial position when you get back into government, blah, blah, blah. He's promised you the world, but he's not going to win. If you keep your seat and do as you're told, we will forgive you. And then you've got a chance of maybe standing again as a Labour politician. You won't be in government, but you'll still get your 96 grand. I think he's been got at for that. I think Andy Burnham can't go down south, even if it was a safe seat. It ruins everything he's ever said. He's a Northern MP. I'm king of the North. London treat us badly. It's all about the North. If he goes down south, he's toast. I think Andy Burnham, don't forget, there's also a deal on the table with Graham Stringer MP from North Manchester. They've done a deal many years ago. But again, it's looked like Andy Burnham can't win that seat anymore now because of Reform UK.
Yeah, reform are the big blocker for Burnham and his own side, of course. Labour are very unhappy about him standing as an MP.
Only the Starmerites are unhappy. A lot of the backbenchers, a lot of the people that keep their seats are looking at Andy Burnham as king across the sea. Like Bonnie Prince Charlie, like, all those come and rescue us. We're waiting for the true king to come across the sea and save us. I think lots of MPs are looking at him like that.
Yeah, I always just you mentioning Bonnie Prince Charlie, it just reminds me. I think it was oh God, I can see his face. I think the Big Yin, and he said that Bonnie Prince Charlie was the only Scottish king named after three dogs. But yeah, he is. He's so tied to the north. As you say, that's why I say, I mean, it's a possibility he could go down south to get a seat, but no guarantee he'd win it. And I think the power that Reform have now, frightening to every Labour seat. Um, I think there's only maybe on the current polling, there's only about two or three cabinet ministers that would keep their seats. I mean, that must be terrifying for them. And so if a safe seat does come up, I think some of the more senior people in the party might be thinking, well, I'm going to go for that seat, thank you. I don't want Burnham having it. I'm having that. I've got a good chance of getting in there. They don't want a Johnny come lately like Burnham to drop the mayoralty to perhaps run as an MP. I think he's alienating people in his own party against him.
I think he's only alienating the Starmerites. I think lots of other people want him. Let me put this scenario to you that I only clicked on yesterday. Because yesterday, Andy Burnham was doing the media rounds, criticising Starmer, criticising this government, the wrong direction. We need to be socialists. He's not, all that sort of stuff.
There's a lot of that about at the moment. Even Phillipson this morning was doing it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And that's what he was doing. And then I thought something hit me and it was like, why is he doing this? And I reckon he's already made a decision now. He's not going to run. He's decided and realized I can't win a seat. If I go for a seat and I lose, that's me done. I'm a laughing stock. That's the end of my reputation. I might as well hang on as mayor of Greater Manchester because the last three elections, he's untouchable for the last three elections. What happens at the next election, we don't know because we're in flux. We don't know. But he's thinking, I've got a bloody good chance of getting a fourth term here. And I think the main thing he's thinking now is Starmer has kept me out of Parliament for the last couple of years. I've been wanting to go back for a couple of years. He's kept me out. I'm going to destroy him now. I don't want to be I do want to be prime minister, but I can't be prime minister. I'm going to put the knife in his back. And I think it looks like to me now, this is all about revenge.
Yeah, yeah. I can 100% agree with you. I think well, it's known that he loathes Starmer. And there was, for a short period, the the possibility of the king and the queen, wasn't there? There was going to be a coronation with Burnham and Rayna. So you got King of the North and the Red Queen doing a power grab between them to basically oust Starmer. Obviously, Starmer has got rid of one of them, and he's forbidden basically the other one to go for it. So he's alienating the whole of the left of the party. There is a possible way back for Rayna, and if she does come back, I think she would be more amenable to get Andy Burnham back in. And I can see that. But even then, by the time that power play works through, he would be right. Well, we'd be right at the end of the parliament anyway, so it's probably not worth him doing it. So yeah, I think he's seen now that it's just not a feasible, realistic probability of him becoming prime minister. So yeah, he's playing the spoiling game. It's a power play to basically cripple Starmer and get rid of him, humiliate him. Not just get rid of him. I think he doesn't want him just got rid of. I think he wants him humiliated.
No, I actually agree because then that puts him in a really good position at the after the next election when Labour are destroyed, and let's say they're not destroyed. Let's say they lose, and it's not half as bad as we predict. Andy Burnham now is thinking to himself, "I'll be in the right position to say, I warned you all, I told you all, I was here to save you." But I'm here again now to save you. And if it's not too bad a beating, I think Andy Burnham is working out now. I still could be. This is a long shot now. He's working out. I still could be Labour leader after the next election, and then maybe we'll have a chance of getting back into power, and I'll be prime minister. Me and you think that's not a possibility, but there's a good chance me and you are wrong on lots of things. So
Oh yeah. Oh, it's all speculation. We don't have a crystal ball, but you can go by past experience, and you can also know by knowing the characters involved exactly how they think. So, even though it is speculative, it's educated speculation.
yeah. So let me put this question to you. Andy Burnham isn't the answer to Labour, but he's a smooth operator. He's got a good PR. He's a good communicator. He can speak off the cuff. He's very much like Blair, but we know he's a dyed in the wool socialist. We know he wants to spend more money. So forget the politics side. If he managed to get to Parliament and managed to become Prime Minister, what do you think would happen to the Labour Party? I still think they'd lose, but I think they would go. I think they wouldn't lose as badly. I think he would help him a bit because of who he is.
Yeah, that's a good question. I think it's terminal for Labour. I think it's already gone. We know that. There's no way back. But it's how bad a beating are the people of the country going to give Labour? Now, I think Starmer is loathed by everyone, even his own family, I think. But Andy North seems to have that sort of chirpy cockiness, doesn't he? He's like one of us. He's got that one of us, man of the people persona. And I think that is, well, in politics, it's priceless, really. But how much it would make, it depends. I think how close to the election it is. If he has a good run, let's say May. Let's say May comes, Starmer's out, he gets in on a by-election, stands and gets in. So let's say by June next year, he's the leader. He's got a good 2.5 years before, the talk of election. I don't think he'll save the party, but I think he would reduce the losses. And I think he'll reduce the losses not by being any good, but just by not being loathed. That's basically it because his policies are terrible. The policies that make the country worse, and that's assuming, of course, we don't have the IMF in by then, but that's a different video on a different day. But yeah, so his policies won't be doing any good, but I think the presentation is different. And I get the impression that if he was Prime Minister and went to Southport, he wouldn't have spent 47 seconds, didn't look at the crowd and sodded off to a party. He'd have been there quite some time.
Oh, he's a much better performer as a politician. I've been up against him twice in elections. When it comes to performing, he's a class act. He spent 30 decades honing that skill. I disagree with all his policies. He's a waste of space, but he's got that PR side to him, and that's been honed over decades.
He's polished. He's very polished performer, and it tells. And it's a professional. But he also, even though his policies are terrible, which I mean, I disagree. I think they're terrible. You say they're terrible, and I'm sure most of the people watching these videos think, yeah, they're bloody awful. But despite the policies being bad, he has an ability, I think, that will push them. So I think, yeah, if he was leader, Labour would still lose, but they'd lose fewer seats. Um, but I still think an awful lot of the cabinet would be gone because they're on razor thin majorities rather. West Streeting's majorities, I can't remember, 585, something like that. I mean, poor turnout, and he's gone. Never mind people being angry with him. It's just there. So these people think, oh well, just come on. I mean, I saw something the other day. Don't ask me where I saw it. I can't remember. But it said that basically the Labour Party are now resigned to being a single term parliament. They're not even trying anymore. I thought, well, if you're resigned to being a single term and you've given up trying, just go now and let someone in who is willing to try, but they're not going to.
Well, that's down to £96,000 a year.
Of course it is, yeah. Yeah. But that's, I think, what Burnham wants. But isn't Burnham already on more than that as the mayor?
About 120,000 is on.
Yeah, so
and he's a multi-millionaire anyway.
Of course he is, yeah.
Many of these top politicians are not doing it for the money. They could earn more money in banking and finance and whatever. They'll make their money after they retire from politics.
They're doing it for the power.
They're doing it for the power and for the prestige and for the history books. Andy Burnham's been a successful politician up north, allegedly, and he wants to be PM. And I take my hat off for someone who wants to be prime minister, for aspiration, for a dream, for going for it. Well done for people if you've got that push in you. Well done you.
And to be honest, well done for actually admitting it, because normally they say, oh, I have no aspiration in that direction. Meaning, of course, I would grab it and hold on to it to grim death, But they all pretend they don't, but really every single person who gets elected wants to be prime minister. Nobody doesn't want that.
I've never been elected, and I've had dreams where I'm prime minister.
You see, prime minister's overrated. If you're really going to go for it, dictator. That's where you want to be.
Well, lots of people have said it's best to be a dictator. Let's end on these couple of quick questions.
Go on then.
Has Andy Burnham got the balls to go for it?
Balls, yes.
Right. If he goes for it, do you think he's going to win? As in the by-election?
Not answering that one. I don't think he could win a by-election. I mean, unless he got the absolute safest Labour seat in the country, I think he would struggle to win anywhere.
Let's say he flukes it and he wins and he gets to Parliament. Do you think he could then become Prime Minister by stabbing Keir Starmer in the back?
Oh, if he took Starmer down, they would be, they'd be carrying him in. They'd be putting him in coronation. They wouldn't even be a vote. He'd just be thrown in there as the leader and said, good man, because Starmer's that loathed within the party. He has his little coterie around him, but they just shield him. But 90% of the party want him gone. And so if Burnham was the one to take him out, he'd be leader. And to do so, I think if he was an MP today, and you've got the conference coming up, and somebody said we want a motion of no confidence in Starmer, that would carry, and they wouldn't even have a vote. It would be Burnham straight away, and Rayner would be back as deputy PM, and so.
So the blockage basically is a safe Labour seat for Andy Burnham to contest.
And there ain't too many of them, mate.
A year ago, there was loads of them.
Yeah.
But a year later, And I think that's why he hates Starmer now, because Starmer has delayed him for a year. And he always thought, I'm going to come one day. And now he's realized he's delayed me that long. I can't come back. And I think that's why he's going to take Starmer down. But do you know what? This is all speculation. We shall wait and see. And as you've said many times on this channel, isn't it a great time to be involved in politics?
Isn't it just? Isn't it? There's always something, isn't there? Something every day. Yeah.
Foxy, thanks so much for coming along today. And
No worries, my friend.
I'm going to keep a close eye on this one because this one is personal to me because I've been up against Andy Burnham twice and I'm from Manchester and Greater Manchester.
No, don't worry. You keep an eye on it. I think we're all going to be keeping an eye on this. But you need more eyes, though. There's so much happening all at once. It's fantastic. But it's been a pleasure, as always, to be here with you. And I enjoy the talks. And I hope the good people out there in YouTube land enjoy the talks as well. So thank you very much, guys. Bye from me.
Thanks, Foxy. And make sure you go to the description of the video and subscribe to Foxy's account. See you next time.